Here I am adjusting the camera on the Entrepreneur Source show. But, I mean, this is radio. We're not doing messing with cameras.
Really? Well, except it is streaming.
And by the way, Bruce, I'm here with Bruce Krebbs. This is actually Bruce Krebbs' show. But it's the guys. They're narcissists and they want to be on YouTube. Oh, I want to see my face. I want to see my face. So we have a camera in here that you can watch us live. You go to youtube.com and then type in Hot News Talk Radio, and you can see our wonderful faces live. Actually, I have a face for radio. You have a face for television, Bruce.
Thank you.
But here we are messing with TV cameras to give you a chance to peek in, and that's what it's about.
Absolutely.
Because it's we're not looking into the camera, we're not playing to the camera, but once in a while you get to see the guys scratch their nose and do silly things, and you go, "Oh, that's so cute." It's actually like reality TV,
Exactly.
It's Hot News Talk Radio, live at AM 1240. For terrestrial radio, if you're on the internet, www.hotnewstalkradio.com will stream live as soon as you type that in. If you have a smart device, this is the coolest thing in the world. Get your Android phone or your iPhone and download TuneIn Radio. It's an app. And you can listen to us and stations all over the country and all over the world. It's so cool. It's like the old transistor radio days.
Huh.
So it's called TuneIn Radio. Download that app. It's real simple. Doesn't cost anything. Takes a couple of seconds. And then once you get that, type in Hot News Talk Radio. And boom, we're streaming anywhere in the world on that device.
Wow.
How exciting is that?
Technology. How exciting.
Dude, when I started radio, we had like people cranking generators to keep us on.
Well, you're showing your age then, Sal.
And now, Bruce, this is an exciting era of technology, which plays into what you do.
That's right.
Service-oriented jobs.
Amen.
Tech jobs, getting people into the world of how to themselves generate their own revenue and control their own destiny. And that's what Bruce Krebbs, the Entrepreneur Source and the Entrepreneur Hour is about. It's so good to see you again, Bruce. It's been 2 weeks already.
It has.
And I told David Tulis and I were talking about you yesterday, and I said I could have gone on about 6 hours with Bruce. He's that interesting. But Bruce is the guy that has helped many people make the plunge and take the plunge out of their mundane corporate job. Listen, you have one life to live, Bruce. Why are you doing something you hate to do every day of the week? This is that right now, as we speak this hour, you're going to have the opportunity to change your life for the better. And probably for the first time in your life, actually control it. Not just personally, but financially. Growing up as a kid in Philadelphia, I used to look out my window, see the big towers in Roxborough, and I would look down at the Schuylkill Expressway every morning. This is going back to the 50s and 60s, and see the cars lined up and stopped for an hour every single day. And I looked out that window and I said, I will never, ever do that. I will never just do a job, going to work to collect a paycheck. And you remember back then, your family would go, you need to work for the government, for the county. You work 35 years, get a good pension, you have health care. How many times did I hear? I said, I don't want health care. I'm 19 years old. What the hell's wrong with you? Health care? Come on.
Well, it goes.
I want to work for myself.
It goes further than that. If you really think about it, the problem we have today is we have 16.4 million people out of work. We've got 28 million people working part-time and another 6.5 million people working multiple part-time jobs. The worker participation rate's at 62.3%. That means there's 91 million people not working or working part-time. Now, when you think about that issue, the real problem is that there's no loyalty in corporate America anymore. What you were talking about, what our parents taught us, is because when you got hired, you had a job for life. Well, today we have a free agency market and you can be let go at any time for any reason. The other problem is that you're making an income and you're building wealth for the owners. You're building equity and wealth for the owners of that business, and they're going to only pay you so much money.
And it doesn't how much you make for them. Because give me an example of what you went through. You can make them multimillionaires. And I went through that. One of the reasons I bought my first station in 93, I was making people rich. And when they sold the station and were making money, I wasn't seeing the results of that. They would pay me what my contract said. And I said, enough of this. I'm tired of making everyone else rich and everyone else money. And I took the plunge and put everything I've ever owned my entire life at 35, buying my first radio station, took a risk, but I took that jump. And that's what we're talking about. You were in the same situation. Tell us about that.
Well, yeah, myself and my management team built a company for a family in the sports apparel business. Built it from, I went out and got all the licenses: NFL, baseball, hockey, Nike, collegiate, Disney, Fisher Price, got them all. Built a company with my management team from a couple million to 250 million. And then in 1993, it sold to VF Corporation for 180 million. And, myself and my management team got nothing. And right then and there, I'd always had a little bit of a thought about being an entrepreneur, but really never had the motivation because I had good money and it was comfortable and I enjoyed what I did. But when I saw that company get sold for $180 million and myself and my management team got nothing, I said, there's really something wrong with this. And so at that time I was 48 years old and I said, I need to do something else and build wealth and equity for myself. Now, the problem is that 75% of Americans want to be self-employed, do something on their own, make good money, build equity, and have a lifestyle, but only 5% do, Sab, and that's because of lack of information. Most people feel that to go into your business for yourself is risky, where that's probably true because 82% of businesses fail in the first 3 years if you go start a business from scratch. Because you have to figure out everything: how to get your clients and customers, how to deliver the product and service, differentiation between the competition. It goes on, which is why I chose to buy a franchise and why I've been a franchise consultant and a business coach for 13 years, because you get a proven system to follow.
Let me tell you, if you don't have that proven system, you're in a very risky business. We're going to also discuss women in business and women taking the plunge. And about 40% of our audiences are women now, where years ago in talk, it was maybe 5%, maybe 10 at the most. But women are taking that next step to do what would be traditional men jobs. And I hate saying that. I hate that because women can do anything that a man can do, and most of the time better.
Absolutely.
We're seeing now maybe 1 or 2 women rangers. So we can't pigeonhole women and go, well, they're supposed to be at home, they're supposed to be doing this, they're supposed to be doing that. When a woman gets super focused, stand out of her way. But you need to have the tools. And this is where Bruce comes in. And Bruce and I are friends, and we talked about this many, many times. This hour, we're going to talk about the tools to become successful without a lot of risk. And that's the important thing, because fear is what stops a lot of people. And I was talking to Bruce the other day about venturing into something other than radio too, in addition, using Bruce's knowledge to gain extra revenue. And there's nothing wrong with that because he has a proven formula. Why reinvent the wheel? McDonald's is a franchise for a reason. You buy McDonald's franchise for a reason. You're getting the same hamburger here in Chattanooga as you would in Hong Kong. And it's a proven entity. It's you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Small example I'll give you, Bruce. At 13, I started my own business, buying and selling CB radios. And I would get them at a wholesale price at over 50% off. I'd sell them for a 25% markup. And as a kid, I made a lot of money. But 2 years later, the FCC made CB radio legal to the average person. Before then, it was only legal to businesses. And guess what? Competition came in. I was out of business as a kid. By the time I was 16, I thought I was going to be a millionaire in the business. But it wasn't a franchise. It was just my good idea. So it doesn't matter if you're 13, 16, 19, or 90. If you think you have a great idea and you want to risk your capital and go into it, the chances are 95% in 3 years, you're going to lose your money. You better just go to Las Vegas and gamble. You'll have a better time.
Well, you're exactly right. And that's part of the franchising model. I mean, you mentioned McDonald's at 1.6 million. I would never, as you know, recommend food or retail or business that have overhead to clients. I really like service businesses. And in the service sector, over the past 13 years, my clients have had a 96.2% success rate.
That's unheard of. Those numbers are crazy.
Yeah. And again, because it's the service business where you don't have overhead. The franchisor has the national accounts or the search engine optimization marketing, or they show you how to get your clients and customers, deliver your product and service and so forth. But if you really think about the service sector, 95 cents out of every dollar you bring in, you put in your pocket, instead of giving them 95 cents out of every dollar for overhead. So when you think about, let's just digress a minute to why do women want to go into business for themselves? Well, one is they may have been downsized out of corporate America. They may have hit that glass ceiling where, they're just not making enough money. But most of it is a woman wants to do something with a flexible schedule because they have the responsibility for the household, the family, the children, and so forth. And the second thing is many women stay at home. They may have had a great career. Now they stay at home to take care of the kids. But once the kids are in school, they want a sense of self-worth. They want to add incremental income to the household. They want to use their skills and strengths, and they want to enjoy doing what they're doing every day. So in that regard, there's many businesses, Sab, that cost very little to get into, that have a flexible schedule. You work out of your house, not that you're home all day long, and there's not this internet billing and medical billing and all that kind of hokey stuff, but things that are part-time, that have great potential income at a very low investment level. And when you think about risk is an ugly 4-letter word, but risk is going into something with a lot of overhead or a lot of competition. And as an example, I just had a woman who was very successful in corporate America, who quit for the last 2 years to have a child. Now the child's in daycare, and she said, I want to do something while he's in daycare, but also that I can do it at home when he's napping or in the evening when my husband's at home. I want to do something 20, 30 hours a week with a flexible schedule. She's just going into a phenomenal business that she's going to have the lifestyle, stay busy, have a great sense of self-worth, and make some great incremental income. Now, on the other hand, there is full-time opportunities. I just had a client who, after 30 years, got downsized at 53 years old in corporate America.
Right.
And she was just devastated. How could they do this to me? All right. And she was making $90,000 a year as an operations manager. They offered another position at 30, and she told them to go fly a kite. She came to me and really wants to do something full-time. But she's a person that she's creative, but she's also done remodeling, decorating, flipping houses, all kinds of different things. She went into a business here in Chattanooga called Handyman Matters. Her name is Sandy Croft. David's, I think, had her on the show. Very, very inexpensive to get into. But what it is a project management business. That's all it is. Because her craftsmen are doing the work, and they're bonded, insured, licensed builders, licensed contractors, licensed. And it's a project management business, Sab. But on the other hand, 87% of the decisions of fixing up your home or getting something done on a project around your house are made by a woman. And a woman trusts a woman to come into their house and basically ensure that the project gets done right. And, in her first 3 months in business, she's been wildly successful. She's done over $25,000 a month each and every one of the first 3 months of her business. Now, think about someone, that has very little overhead, that in the first 3 months of business has done $75,000. And this is just first 3 months, right? Loving what she's doing. The franchisor has great search engine optimization programs where her phone rings. And she's also doing the right other things, but she's got a life. If she wants to stop at 3 o'clock in the afternoon or 4 o'clock or go on vacation, she can do that. So there's a lot of different businesses for women out there that are full-time, part-time, or even 5-10 hours a week. That like the one I showed you is 5 hours a week. Now that's unheard of. Now, is there many of these really great ones? No, there absolutely isn't, but there is some. So that's why once I understand the criteria of my client, I can help them look at things that fit their criteria. Most of all, you're educating yourself. And if you really look at us in America, we like to be educated, whether it be school or on-the-job training or corporate America. Most people don't think about how to educate themselves about what type of businesses are out there that may be right for them. So if they ever want to do something on their own, what are the kind of things that are out there? My favorite saying is you have to learn more to earn more. And that's a perfect example, Sab, is that you have to really learn more in order to understand, is there anything out there for me or not?
The Entrepreneur Hour at Hot News Talk Radio, on the web, hotnewstalkradio.com. Tune in Go to Hot News Talk Radio on Twitter. Everywhere is Hot News Talk Radio. But to get a hold of Bruce Krebbs, here's the website.
My website is source.com/B-Krebbs, K-R-E-B-S. And my phone number is 423-875-5621 for anybody who wants a free assessment.
Now, can they just go to theentrepreneurssource.com?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. And that'll get them right there. So that's easy to remember, theentrepreneurssource.com.
No, the eSource, not entrepreneur. The eSource.
The eSource.com/B-Krebbs. Okay. If they don't put in the /B-Krebbs,
they won't get me.
Okay. So don't forget the /B-Krebbs.
That's right.
Because I think a lot of us are not used to doing that.
That's correct.
The eSource.com/B-Krebbs.
Yep, that'll get me.
The eSource.com/B-Krebbs.
Yep.
Is that what it is?
That's it.
The eSource.com. Picture this, /B-Krebbs. Because a lot of time I'm driving down the road going, I want that. What is that website? You have to visualize it. So let's visualize this. It's always www. The eSource.com/
B is in Bruce, Krebbs, K-R-E-B-S.
B is in Bruce, Krebbs. Is that one B?
One B, K-R-E-B-S.
How simple is that?
Yep, just call me for a free assessment.
Now, Bruce is not only a business coach, he's a life coach. He will look at you, talk to you, make a 2 or 3 month assessment as to what he really thinks you need, because his job is also a franchise. And he gets paid when you get paid. This is one of the great things about capitalism. Capitalism is the ultimate charity. It really is, because capitalism supplies people what they want, what their needs are. You have to be the best of the best of the best to be successful as a capitalist, or you don't make any money.
Correct.
So your job is to take that woman that's listening right now at her desk, that's kind of bored at what she's doing, looking at the future, knowing that corporations have no soul. Remember that. They have no soul. When you make a certain amount of money in a corporation, you will be fired. They already have your replacement in mind. That's going to work for 1/3 of what you work for. You built it. They fire you. They take 2/3 of what you built and pay someone 1/3. They don't love you. Okay. People have this idea. I go to work and, I deserve this. I owe this. I put in my time. No, you don't. You know what I think is someone who employed people years ago? I don't employ anybody anymore. They're private contractors. But my idea was this. At the end of the workday, you're done. You're fired until you can prove to me that you can do your job again the next day. So I would fire everybody in my head at 5 o'clock. Even my ex-wife. Doesn't matter. I don't care if it was my brother. You were fired at 5 o'clock. I'm going to give you a chance in my head to come back the next day and prove yourself again. And when you stop proving yourself, you're out of the company, because it's your job to make profit and gain for the company, whatever that may be, whether you're a secretary, whether you're a salesperson, whatever your job is, that's your job. And I have no more loyalty to you after 8 hours. You worked 8 hours, you get remuneration for 8 hours, and that's where my loyalty to you ends. Now, if you think that's cruel, guess what? That's the way the corporate world thinks. I just say it. I'm telling you what every boss thinks.
Well, it didn't used to be that way. But what's happened is, in the competitive world we live in today, the mindset of employers have changed. And we see it in big companies here. Every big company here is laying people off, from TVA to Blue Cross to Cigna. I mean, and literally every day. I just had a client come to me from Blue Cross, been there 15 years, makes a big income. She's getting she's going to be replaced with someone at 1/3 of her salary and younger. And, just to save money. And that's sad, but it's true, because it doesn't even matter how good a job you've done or not done. It really is immaterial. Because corporations are trying to save money. And so, you are a free agent, you are expendable. So it's a matter of, do you want to control your own destiny or have someone else do it for you?
And I've always had that feeling. I felt that when my 8-hour day is over, I'm done. I have to reprove myself over and over again. But this is an opportunity where you can control your destiny. For the 40% of the women that are listening that are really tired of their jobs, let's talk about the steps that they need to take control of their life. Maybe for the first time in their life, to take control of their life. The first thing I'm going to tell you to do is change your signature. That's the very, and that's just on me. If you really want to change your life from this point on, change your signature, because that's a hard step for someone that I can't. If you can't change your signature, you can't change your life. Change your signature, and then you'll go, wow, I made that step, and that'll free your mind. But this is all. Then after you change your signature, what is the process? How afraid should I be? Am I going to lose my house? Is there a personal guarantee? My kids are depending on me. Bruce, where do I go from here? I'm lost, but I want to be independent and a business owner.
Well, it really is pretty simple. Is you come into my office, we sit down, I ask you hundreds of questions, but basically I'm trying to figure out and find out, what are you good at? What do you enjoy doing every day? What are your transferable skills, strengths and skills? What are all the things that interest you? And then a really tough one, Sab, from a business standpoint, what do you enjoy doing every day? Then we talk about lifestyle you want, money you want to make, comfortable investment range. And really, once I also give my clients DISC, which is kind of like Myers-Briggs, to understand your natural and adapted personality, and also something called PIAV, which is personality, interest, attributes, and values. These are assessments to really help me understand who my client is. At the end of that process, I'm going to come up with a series of ideas for you, 4, 5, 6 different ideas. In our next meeting, I'm going to discuss them all with you, tell you what they are, explain them. At the same time, after you look at everything, you're simply going to decide who you want to start to talk to learn more about them. Then you're going to spend a couple of months of due diligence, talking to franchisors and franchisees and visits. And once my clients find the right opportunity, I help them with the best way to finance the business, including paying themselves through the startup. And today, financing is easier than it's ever been before. In my 11 previous years in the business, it was difficult to get an SBA loan or get a home equity line of credit or all the other things you had to do. Today, the government's come up with a program through the Small Business Administration where you can get $100,000 to $150,000 on your signature. There's no money down. There's no pledge of collateral. You don't have to put up your house or your IRAs or so forth. There's a 10-year amortization with no prepayment penalties. And all you need is a credit score above 680.
Wow.
There's no collateral.
So this is a no-lose situation.
Absolutely.
That if you wanted to take the plunge, there's no personal guarantee. You don't have to put up your house. You create a corporation. People are confused about a corporation. What is that? Is it me? It's real simple. It's a couple of $100. You create an LLC or a subchapter S. You can be president, vice president, secretary, and treasurer. And the subchapter S is created for the purpose of not paying taxes. The subchapter S corporation doesn't pay any taxes. That's the way it's set up. It washes its profit and gain to its stockholders. So your corporation is set up not to pay taxes.
Well, and what that really means is when you set up an S corp or an LLC, basically it's a corporate veil that you're protected personally under. Someone could sue the company, your S corp or LLC, but they can't sue you personally unless there's a felony involved. So you're protected from being sued. That's the main issue. And you're right. You're the president, vice president, whoever you want to be in that corporate entity. But you're right. You're never going to pay corporate taxes because the profits will be taken out as a draw. Your salary, your draw, your bonus, and whatever. So you're only going to be taxed once, not twice, on your income. The only exception to that is a C corporation, which you really don't want to be. You don't want to be a C corporation because then you're going to get taxed twice.
Right. But there's nothing to be afraid of because you can never own a corporation, but you control it.
Correct.
You go to the bank looks at the corporation as a legal person. The corporation is a legal person, and you operate in corporate and individual status with running that corporation. So the corporation actually is borrowing the money in a sense, or you're lending the money to the corporation that you just created. You on your signature, you get $150,000. Create your subchapter S or LLC if you want. You lend your corporation that money, and you can even, I'm just going to tell you, you can charge your corporation interest, and that corporation has to pay you back, and it's not income until you've earned everything back. It's the interest that's the income. So there's all sorts of things you can do that aren't real fancy, that are basic, to create your own business from scratch. And that's why Bruce is here. He's been successful, 95% of the time?
Right. Well, there's another thing is people really don't understand the tax advantages, Sab. and of owning your own business. Even if you're a home-based business and you don't have employees or whatever, you still get to deduct your health insurance, your car, your gas, your expenses, your cell phone, and a litany of other things that will really lower your tax base. But what the other thing that people don't understand is when you're self-employed and you have an S corp, LLC, and so forth, you can put up to $57,500 a year in, they call in a retirement plan, a mini K or a KEO and that kind of thing.
Non-taxable.
So when you talk about sheltering taxes, you can really shelter a lot of taxes and take a lot of your personal expenses that you paid for before out of your pocket.
Legally.
Exactly. That's the way the tax code's set up. Now, do you need a good CPA to explain it to you? Absolutely. Okay. And you know, one of the things I help my clients with is getting a good CPA, getting a good franchise attorney to understand the agreement and their rights and obligations. All of this is really out of someone's comfort zone. But if you think about a lot of things you've done in your life, you've been pulled out of your comfort zone many times.
But Bruce, it's easy.
It's not that hard.
It's easy. It's so easy. It's pathetic. The only accounting program I know is QuickBooks,
right? Which
literally my 8-year-old daughter figured out in 2 minutes. And then what I would do is I'd send my disc every week to my accountant. I would literally just email the file. It's so easy. It's stupid. And everything you do to earn profit and gain as a business under Title 26 is tax deductible. Everything, which is amazing.
Right.
But as an individual, you're paying all these taxes. Tax avoidance is legal. Tax evasion is illegal. So the person will sit back and go, well, that can't be true. Why am I sitting here as an employee paying all these taxes? Because that's the way they want you. You see, the master-servant relationship is employee-employer. Never forget that. If you're an employee, you are considered to be a servant as a matter of law. It's a master-servant relationship. I'm free. Not as long as you're an employee, you're not. You're a servant. So this is an opportunity to become what's even more than the master, free.
Right, and let's take an example of that. Let's say that you make $100,000 after paying your business expenses. Let's just pick a number. Then you look at taking business expenses, personal and business, for, let's pick a number, $25,000. That leaves $75,000. Then you put $50,000 in an IRA. That leaves $25,000 that you're going to pay taxes on. Now you could get that down to zero if you took more deductions or put more in an IRA or whatever it happens to be, because the other thing, a franchise fee, as an example, is deductible, and legal cost, advertising cost, your cost for a CPA, everything is deductible. So you're going to get into either paying no taxes or paying taxes on a greatly reduced number. As an example, if you make $100,000 a year after deductions, you're going to probably be in a 30% tax bracket, $30,000 in taxes, where the example I just gave you at $25,000, you're probably in a 10% tax bracket,
exactly,
which is $2,500
right,
instead of $30,000.
And that's your fair share.
But that's money that's in your pocket. That's
right,
money in your pocket.
And it's legal.
It's legal.
So this is not only a life change as far as controlling your life, but you're going to put a lot more money in your pocket just out of the gate.
Absolutely.
You win, man. You're in that horse race, and as soon as that gate opens, boom, you already won.
But then you have to think about the other side of this, which we just touched on, and that is the equity build of your business. And you know, I had a client that 6 years ago went into business, cost him about $75,000. He started making great income, and by the third year, he was making about $350,000 a year net profit. He just came to me about 3 months ago and said, Bruce, I want to retire. I'm 64. And I had another client that bought his business for $1.2 million.
Oh, sweet.
Now, there's other things where I had a client that was in a business and he just sold it for $275,000. It was just a lesser home-based kind of business, but a business is going to sell for basically 3 times pre-tax profit. And plus inventory and so forth. But most people don't realize there's an equity build that you get in your business that people don't think about. I mean, you know, the company that I ran that got sold, you know, the equity build was $180 million to the owners. So there is an equity build in any business because someone wants the repeat business. They want the goodwill, meaning the customer base. There's a lot of things people want when they buy an existing business. I personally am not a big advocate of that because I don't want to personally pay for that, and I don't want to wait till my 4th year to start making money. And if you pay 3 times pre-tax earnings for a business, that means you're not going to start making money till year 4.
Yeah, Bruce has a much better idea. His is proven. There's no money out of your pocket, and it's shown to be successful 95% of the time. Going to be talking to Eric Judd. The Eric Judd show is normally 11 to 12, who's also an entrepreneur. And to give you an example, I do what you don't recommend and have gotten burnt many times, basically because I'm a hardhead. I have trouble following rules. And type A personalities, it's got to be our way. But we typically lose money doing that because we have trouble following the plan, the rule. And here's where women, I'm telling you, and I've had more women working with me, I don't say for me, as a partner, just being there, than men, and women will follow the rules. They will. And I think I told you before, I had a pool guy and he said, I'm not even going to explain to you how to do the chemicals. He says, why? He said, because when I tell a guy to put a quart in, he puts 2 in. It was kind of double. When I tell a woman to put a quart in, she puts a quart in. So I see women as more likely to be successful in the non-brick and mortar businesses that you're promoting. And I love that idea of overhead not killing you, because you will die with overhead. An old timer once told me it's not how much you make, it's how much you keep.
Amen.
And in this business, like you said, I'll take a license, build the transmitter, build the tower, build the equipment, do everything, ready to go. Here's your key, you got a radio station. However, do you know how much money you have to lose to do that? It takes 2 to 5 years to turn a profit before you can put a penny in your pocket, because I'm not getting a loan going, could I have 150,000? Could I have 200,000? That'd be a smart thing to do. What you're talking about. On my signature with a credit score of a minimum of 680, I'm getting $100,000 to $150,000 in my pocket to start this business that may only cost $80,000, $20,000 in capital. May cost 30.
Yeah.
And now you can pay yourself the entire year. And if you want, create that corporation. We have Eric Judd here from the Eric Judd Show, 11 to 12. This man is an entrepreneur. He just started a new business, but it's not a franchise. And because it's not a franchise, tell them what you're going through. You're struggling because, like, you have rainy days, you have sunny days. You're developing this business on your own.
Absolutely. What I've done is I'm creating a need. I am taking what a lot of people are doing for a hobby or for fun, or maybe they're doing it for, someone else, but I'm taking it and building a business around it. Now, in doing that, a lot of people do not know that that they may have a need for my product. And what I do is aerial video and photography, as well as editing.
What is your franchise agreement?
There is no franchise.
What is your plan?
Well, my plan now.
No. What is your franchise plan? Do you have one?
Franchise plan? There is no franchise.
Okay.
Plan.
Could you work this week?
Actually, if I had to work right now, I could, but no, I could not have worked this week.
So this is an example of your typical entrepreneur, like me, that had a great idea, wants to turn it into profit and gain, and we're developing our own plan.
Yes.
Whereas
what Bruce talks about, he comes in and says, look, here's already a model, a plan that works, and it makes it a lot easier. Like you said, for me, it's, well, this day is different from this day, and that day was different from the other day.
Right.
And I may have a great plan laid out, but that road's not built yet, and I have to go around a mountain, or I have to go over a lake that I didn't plan on. Whereas what Bruce is talking about in the franchise deal, a lot of that's done for you.
Well, there's an interesting thing. I mean, I know a little bit about your business. We've talked about it. The interesting thing about your business is that you have to figure out how to get your clients and customers, deliver your product and service, where a franchise does that for you. But a key factor in your business is you've got to keep up with technology. You've got to keep up with new products, new services, and you got to figure out how to stay ahead of the competition. A franchisor does that. You got to figure that out on your own. And if the FAA comes out with new guidelines or whatever happens, you've got to try to figure that out on your own while you're still trying to run your business and make money. We're in franchising, yes, you get their yellow brick road, their system, and they train you, but they're going to do the research and development. They're going to add the new products and services. They're going to keep up with regulations and legal requirements and accounting kinds of things. But they're also going to really keep up with the search engine optimization, marketing, and national accounts, and the marketing piece of the business, where you've got to go figure all that out. And I'm sure it's a little scary.
Oh yeah, I have to do all that. My biggest hurdle I have right now is the negative media that we get. You know, drones are doing this, drones are doing that. Now they're doing so much more good, but as we like to do in this country that I love so much, we're going to focus on maybe the not so good, where what you're talking about, a franchise, they're already seeing that, and they are combating that on a national level, where I'm really combating it on a local level, and I'm having to educate people at the same time, give them that they have this need of the service I have.
And here's where
have the big
right. And here's where the franchise comes in, is that you're talking about a proven model, and maybe eventually you'll be the one to start the proven model after you spend a lot of money and a lot of time and made a lot of errors and a lot of successes. You'll say, okay, here's the model, and he'll be the one selling the franchises. But typically, the franchises are sold after the model is successful. Is that correct?
That's true, but you know, one of the things too is that in any business that you start from scratch, the reason the failure rate's so high is because, like we just talked about, you're trying to figure out everything on your own, and you're going to go spend time and money on things that are going to end up not working, and that's a waste of time and money. And what happens is the reason that 82% of businesses fail in 3 years because they run out of money, because they've made bad mistakes. Or things have changed, or there's a lot of things that come at them that they don't realize. A lot of it's the competition, where in your business, you've got a lot of people coming out there right now that are with drone technology from Google on down. And you know, when Google comes into a marketplace, they could wipe out everybody. They're kind of like the Walmart, when Walmart comes in and wipes everybody out. So, you know, figuring out that reason to be against the competition and staying up with technology, if you're on your own, it's scary. I would much rather have a large organization figuring that out. And
I would say, you know, the for me is putting systems in place for the back end work. You know, what I enjoy is flying and doing the videos and pictures and the editing, but then there's a whole accounting back end. There's a whole marketing back end where a franchise would be more adapt, where, you know, they already have that figured out for you.
Sure.
And sometimes I know they may even help you with it.
Well, even the technology for the cameras, for the drones, for the editing, or what to bill at, and how to collect, and like I say, keeping up with FAA regulations, or the insurance, having a national supplier for insurance. There's so many different things that are relevant, and credit to you, you've done great so far in a rapidly changing technology market.
Women in business. When we come back, we're going to discuss how you can get out of the doldrums of sitting behind that desk that you're sitting behind right now, listening to us, and really take control of your life with your signature. Entrepreneur Hour, Bruce Krebbs is here at Hot News Talk Radio at AM 1240 on the net, hotnewstalkradio.com. Back after these.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Costa, host of the Costa Report, every Sunday at 9 a.m. My guest this week is one of our nation's most acclaimed legal scholars, Mr. Alan Dershowitz. Will be here to lay out the case for and against the nuclear agreement with Iran. Don't miss Alan Dershowitz this Sunday at 9 a.m. on the Costa Report, right here on AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio.
Here you are, working to keep your customers happy and to manage your cash flow. IRS problems are the last thing you need, but here they are, flapping about you like vultures. Get help from Eric Pelton and his team of accountants at E.J. Pelton Company. Audits, letters, proposed return changes, 1099s, penalty threats. Pelton Tax Resolution Services brings peace of mind and helps you keep more of what you've earned. EJPelton.com. Offices on Brandon Road and in Saudi Daisy, just north of the Bilo. That's E.J. Pelton. Call 622-3156. Think ahead, 622-3156.
When my brother and I opened the First Jets Pizza, we believed if we made the best pizza, customers would find us. So we made fresh dough each day, used fresh toppings, and premium mozzarella cheese. 300-plus stores later, we still do.
Try Jet's famous 8-corner pizza with premium mozzarella cheese and one topping, now just $11.99 for a limited time only. Jet's Pizza, the best pizza in town. 3600 Hickson Pike.
Life is short. Eat better pizza.
Let's get Jets. Are you tired of working in corporate America, or have you recently lost your job and would like to consider owning your own business? If you are, please call me, as I can help you look at franchises or business opportunities that fit you, the economy that we're in, and the type of businesses that are right in the greater Chattanooga area. After I help my clients find the right opportunity, I also help them find the best way to finance the business, including paying yourself through the startup phase. If you would like to learn more about opportunities that may be right for you, please call me for a free assessment. My name is Bruce Krebbs at the Entrepreneur Source. Phone number is 423-875-5621.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
If you have the DTs, the shakes, because your phone is on the fritz, you have nomophobia. You need help. Your telecom doctor is in. Cell Surgeon at Northgate Mall. Cell Surgeon yanks open the ribcage of your phone, pries out the dead heart, and puts in the beating life that you lead on your cell phone. Broken screen, phone not charging, water damage, battery given out? Cell Surgeon at Northgate Mall next Old Chicago Pizza. Check us out on Facebook. Open Sunday. Cell Surgeon. We bring your phone back to life. Mention Hot News Talk Radio and get 10% off.
Sky Aerial Services uses advanced drone technology to give you a better perspective and depth of your property and project. We offer aerial photography and video for your business, farm, home, or advertising campaigns, as well as editing services to complete the experience. Call us at 423-521-0284 and see how we can help you tell your story about your business, property, or project. We work with real estate professionals, both commercial and residential, developers, engineer inspectors, surveyors, ad agencies, auto and boat dealers, mapping services, insurance inspectors, corporate marketing, charity events, weddings, and photographers. Our consultation is free. Call 423-521-0284. That's 423-521-0284, or visit our website, skyaerialservices.com. Sky Aerial Services. The sky.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
It's the Entrepreneur Hour, Entrepreneur Source. I can tell you this, I've learned a lot since I've met Bruce Krebbs. Also, finding your credit score, because I think one of the first things you want to do is find out what your credit score is, because we're talking about you going into these franchises with no money down, with just your signature. And I'm going to tell you, I'm a product of believing advertising. And I watch the commercials and listen to the commercials, Bruce.
I do too.
And I'm like, yeah, creditkarma.com. Let me try that. And you're saying, no. What do you recommend?
All the financing sources I deal with have my clients go on www.creditchecktotal.com. Now, the biggest fear is you don't want your credit pulled, because you get, every time you get your credit pulled, your credit score is going to go down. And if you get your credit pulled 6 times a year from anything from a cell phone company to a bank to an auto dealer, your credit score can go down 40, 50 points.
It can go down that much?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Wow.
And so when you go on creditchecktotal.com, you're going to get all 3 of your credit scores and the credit reports, and it's not going to show as a hard or soft pull on your credit. It's going to cost you $1. You just have to cancel in 30 days and not pay any more. But all my clients do that because, 1, you're going to find out your credit score. 2, you're going to see if there's any inaccuracies, anything you don't agree with. I just had a client as an example that just did that. And all of a sudden she told me that her credit score was at 670, and last time she looked, it was 780. What happened is she went to buy a car, and she gave him the authorization to pull a credit. What people don't know generally is when you go to a car dealer, they don't pull your credit once. They're going to send it out to 5 or 6 banks or dealerships. And her credit got pulled 6 times. And her credit score dropped 100 points. Because, so basically, if you go get a car, you make sure that it is only pulled once. And don't sign that authorization, because this has happened to numerous clients of mine. And it's just something that they're going to put it out there to 5 or 6 sources, whether it be, GMAC or Nissan Credit, or various banks that do financing.
Why are they penalizing people for just looking at your credit score?
Well, because they think they're doing you a service, because they're sending it out to 5 or 6 financial institutions.
Why does your credit score get lowered? Why is that a penalty?
It's a penalty because it basically looks like you're applying for credit in a lot of places. So the more times your credit gets pulled, it looks like to the under the algorithms of the credit reporting, it looks like you're applying for credit and getting a lot of credit. All it shows is a pull. All right. So you may go and put out 6 requests to get 6 credit cards with $10,000 limits apiece, and you have $60,000 worth of limit available. You can go run them all up and then file bankruptcy.
Gotcha.
So that's where the whole credit reporting thing, that's just the way they do business.
So the safe way to pull your credit score is
www.creditchecktotal.com.
Creditchecktotal.com.
Yep.
Don't be afraid to give your credit card out because they're going to charge you $1.
Yep, $1.
Because a lot of times, I recommend the Bluebird card. Get it at Walmart for $5. You can transfer money onto that. So anything you do on the net, just use one of these prepaid cards, so you can't get burnt with your bank card.
Well, the only thing go to the bank card is that if your Visa or MasterCard, American Express is ever used illegally, they will refund the money and pay it. So I mean, you can dispute it and not pay it. So the debit cards is the issue. You don't want to use your debit card for any transaction, because anybody can take your debit card number and empty your bank account, and you can't control that. Where a credit card you can.
But for those who don't have the credit card, I would recommend the prepaid.
Get a reloadable, right? Absolutely.
Yeah, one of the reloadable prepaids.
Absolutely.
And the Bluebird is free to reload, and there's no monthly fee.
Right.
It's American Express, and not everybody takes it, but I found it to be great since there's no monthly fee, and you reload for free at Walmart.
Absolutely.
Actually, you can reload for free using your bank card if you want. You don't even need to go to Walmart. You go online and do it with one of their apps. I've recommended that to people so they don't get burnt online.
Right.
Never, ever, ever use a debit card online.
Never. Horror stories about that.
Yeah. They hit me for a lot years ago. Women in business. Bruce, why do you recommend the woman that's disenfranchised, that's maybe about to turn 50 in the corporate world, or who wants to take control of her life, take the plunge?
Well, I feel that in any woman, period, whether you're 40 or 45 or 55 or 60, should at least learn what's out there, because, whether you're a male or a female, you do want to do something you enjoy doing every day. You would like to make incremental income. You would like to work a flexible schedule and build some equity and so forth. So the real issue, though, is if you're unemployed and you want to continue to work full-time for 10 or 15 years, corporate America might not be an option. And a perfect example of that is 80% of the employees between 55 and 70 that got downsized in 2008 and 2009 have not found jobs as yet.
80%.
80%.
2009.
80%.
That's 6 years.
It's a horrible, horrible number. And there's so many, we look at our jobs numbers today, and there's so many people who have just taken jobs just to have something. Perfect example. I have a client that was making $100,000 a year, corporate America, and he's 56. And when he got laid off, the only thing he's been able to find is he has to drive to Nashville every day to be a rent-a-cop for $10 an hour. And he drives back and forth to Nashville every day. It's all he's been able to find. I've got other clients who are working retail right now and on their feet all day long. And, when you're any age, let alone above 50, you don't want to be on your feet all day long, serving the public. And so there's so many of those kinds of jobs that you just don't want to be there.
And do you want to see your wife unhappy or your girlfriend? Because for the 60% of the men that are listening, is it a good idea for them to go home tonight and say, hey, hon, do you think about maybe you're good with the house, or you're good with running the bank as you did for many years? Maybe, you would want to do a franchise.
Well, that's a good point. I mean, one thing, and you brought it up earlier, is that women are very good at multitasking and following proven systems. And they have great transferable skills and strengths, which is an ideal fit for a franchise. Because they can follow the franchisor's proven system to be successful. They're not going to be entrepreneurs who go try to do it their way and crash and burn, because I've always said an entrepreneur should never go into a franchise.
And by the way, that's a feminist statement. We're feminists.
Exactly.
Because, the radical feminists, we go,
Well, there's no difference between a man and a woman. And how could you say women do this and men do this?
because you and I have been in business forever. We're in our 50s. We observe. And we can say, I'm sorry, men, because the men know this too, that the women can multitask and they typically do the job better.
Many times. You're exactly right. And again, there's businesses that you got to remember that your skills and strengths are very transferable into anything you go into. You may have strengths in sales and marketing. You may have sales in doing presentations. You may be very good at project management. You may be very good at technology, computer skills. There's a litany of things that most people don't think they have very good transferable skills and strengths, and that just isn't true.
How many opportunities do I have? How many different franchise opportunities do I have? Is it 5? Is it 10? Is it 1,000? How many do you recommend?
Well, there's 6,900 franchises in 115 industries, and there's probably less than 50 today, 45 to 50 that I ever show to a client, because you don't want something affected by the economy. You want low overhead. You really want repeat business, because repeat business becomes a steady paycheck. And you want a franchisor that has a very powerful marketing program to get your clients and customers.
You convinced me. I'm going to take the plunge. What is your website?
It's www.the-entrepreneur-source.com/B as in Bruce, Krebbs, Krebbs.
And if you missed the show, you're just tuning in, go to YouTube, type in Hot News Talk Radio. You can watch the show back. Bruce is on every other week with the Entrepreneur Hour. Bruce Krebbs is, I would consider you a life coach.
That's correct.
So I've made the decision. I love what you're saying. I'm going to call you at what number?
423-875-5621 is my office number.
We're going to set an appointment. I'm going to walk through the door and you're going to say, what can I expect?
What you can expect is to get a tremendous amount of information about yourself and about opportunities that may be right for you. And I assist you in learning about if any of those happen to be right for you. And then I help you with the best way to finance the business, including paying yourself through the startup and all the next steps, setting up your legal entity, corporation, getting the CPA, and so forth.
What's my obligation? How much do I have to give you out of pocket? What's this going to cost me? Because I know nothing's for free.
No, this is free. Absolutely nothing, because I get paid like a headhunter. So the franchisors compensate us, but we guarantee you in writing what we receive. You never pay in any way for any reason.
So your franchise is helping people. And once you've helped them into getting into something successful, that person will then pay you.
That's correct. But you never pay that in any way. It's public knowledge. It's not like a real estate transaction or anything else like that. I am not a broker. I'm a life coach and a franchise consultant. And as a result, I really only work for my clients.
Bruce, your website again is?
www.the-edwardsource.com/B as in Bruce, Krebbs, Krebbs.
And your phone number?
423-875-5621.
Bruce will be back in 2 weeks.
Same time.
Boy, it's like you were here yesterday.
Same time, same place.
At Hot News Talk Radio. Thank you again, Bruce Krebbs.
Thank you, Sab.
This is Hot News Talk Radio Digital Drive with the kid Russell is next.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
WSDT.